Namaste and namaste. Namaste with me. Namaste connected. Namaste connected to our bar. Namaste connected to your career. Namaste 6 feet away. But most importantly, namaste with me for 1 hour. I'm Lawrence, and I invite you to relax, have some notes if you're so inclined. Let's use our chat box or our comments a little interactively. Trisha Murphy Madden has given me an honor by saying, could I come on and spend some time with you? Yes, but I don't want to make this the Lawrence Show. I would like to make this the You Show for each and every one of you. Let's start, please, with our first call to action. Can I invite you to put in your comments where you are logging on from? Just Kansas, just Kuwait, or anywhere in between? I'm going to invite you to tell us where you are logging on from. While you're putting in your location, can I invite you to stick around and consider this question? In our role of fitness, in our career that we're clearly in for our outcomes, definitely not for the incomes, right? Am I, together are we performers? Are we leaders? Or are we teachers? Am I a fitness performer? Am I a fitness leader? Or I am a fitness teacher? All sounding good? All looking good? Great. As you're just joining us, please give me your location and consider not a rhetorical question. My role on this planet, I believe, is a teacher. My master's degree is in education. This book that I wrote called Cream Rises is not about milk or soy milk or now hemp or oat or peanut milk. It's all about the little things we do to be excellent communicators of love on our planet. And that's what we're going to talk about. My master's is in education, and education is about teaching, not performing. There's a very valid place in gyms for fitness performers, and not leaders. There's a very valid place in gyms for fitness leaders. My specialty, what I can speak to, is about fitness education, about communication, about NLP or neuro-linguistic programming, and how you can learn some of the hacks, which is a new word for secrets or special sauce, that I've accumulated over the years to put together what I call a fitness business. So as we dive in, namaste, all ears, namaste, all eyes, namaste, open-hearted, namaste, connected, right here with me. Speaking of connected, I hope you believe and agree that at these wonderful and interesting times, from tragic to magic around our world, we could look at this as a time for physical distancing to save lives. I hope you're in with that. But we are connected socially more than ever. So to start with hashtags, 2 of the hashtags I believe are social connection amidst necessary physical distancing. I'm not a fan of saying we are socially distanced, because wherever you're watching me from, I'm pretty close to you. And wherever you're watching me from, I'm pretty close to you. And because you don't know me very well, and I don't know you very well, I'll be honest, this is what Trisha Murphy has said. Can you come and talk to my people? Not that I would ever not be honest, but I'm being a little candid and revealing. And that is, a first date can make one very nervous on your part and on my part. And if I invited you for a whole date and I said, I'm going to serve this, here is my main and here is my side, and you don't eat my main and my side, that's a date that's not going to go very well in very many places, very far, very fast. So I'm going to go, according to my Asian friends, with an Asian Japanese mentality of a dim sum box, or a cafeteria style dim sum bento box sampler of some of the secrets that I talk about in Cream Rises during our date. And some of the sections of my book are the hats I wear in fitness. Bring this to you. Whether you've ever made lists of the hats you wear in fitness, I invite you to take a piece of paper, turn it landscape the way we shoot our clips, right? Whether they're Instagram or for Facebook or Zoom, because we can always go this way, we can't always go this way. And turn your paper horizontally landscape, and across the top, write some of the hats that we wear in fitness, forgetting about your other roles of mother and father and dog trainer and coach and parent and nutritionist and house cleaner and all the things we're doing in the areas where we are right now. But think about the hats you wear, and I'm just going to share some of mine with you that I'm going to share some secrets of on our journey together for the next 5 hours we're together. Just kidding. For the next few hours we're together. I see you're writing in your places. Thank you very much for doing that. I'm going to be interacting with you at special times. If you keep your questions that are really specific to me until the end of the little sections, I'll come up close and personal, and then I won't be distracted between looking out at the view and looking at your notes and wondering if I'm suddenly he empezado a hablar español porque no me explico en inglés and suddenly went into Spanish. Then, of course, you need to put an emoji or a flag or something like that. The hats I wear that I'd like to talk about from Cream Rises are, sure, our skill set. And that's something as specific as cueing, or how do we have other people understand what kind of music we find is motivating and find out what kind of music other people find motivating. For example, skill sets we spend a lot of time doing as a hat in fitness. Another hat that we wear through our career is business. How do we manage our livelihood if we do, and it's not a hobby, and there's nothing wrong with being a hobby professional, although I work with companies that endorse and mentor more serious fitness professional full-time than people who don't make fitness a full-time business. People who make fitness a full-time business spend time in certifications and other departments, but the last thing we ever get is business sense. So it's a huge hat that I wear and a huge department of secrets and hacks I'd like to share with each and every one of you watching as we talk a little bit of that as I try to date you in our dim sum meal instead of serving one thing. Then after that, we move on to another course. I'm going to talk a little bit about customer service, because the last thing I think fitness professionals get is what to say when and how to deal with and how do you sell to are huge 3 questions that nobody tells us. The words around part of sales, part of business, part of marketing, part of social media. But customer service is the most important because people don't care, you've heard this, how much you know until they know how much you care. We are connected when there's huge S word. Sure, people have to feel successful, and that's the most important S word. Not this is too above me, not this is too below me. I have a little challenge, but I can feel successful in this experience. And Cream Rises, when we actually make people feel compelled to seek out the services we're offering through our USPs or unique selling points. Another hat we wear, which often goes untied or untalked or untaught in our fitness industry by certification companies that we love, is self-care. How can we serve, we say in China, tea to others if our teapot is empty? So I'm going to give you a couple secrets that I have for my own self-care that have helped me travel the world, live on 2 time zones at once, mentoring on a Zoom call versus teaching in between sessions at a convention and going back to my hotel room. For example, self-care is so important, and we have to learn a few things to take care of ourselves so that our teapot, if you will, is always full. For those of you still joining us, just dropping in, please, I invite you in your comments to write where you're watching from. I'd love to know if you're in North America, if you're in another country, or where you're coming from. And another hat, or the 5th hat that I wear, is growth. I think it's important to understand that when I talk about skill set, that's what we're doing in front of our people, our external customers, if you will, in customer service. But our growth is what we do on our own for my own internal growth, my own internal customer, myself. Now's a time when so many people in the world reference themselves as being in a retreat. unless you're using that other Q word, quarantine. I think that's pretty negative to talk about quarantine. I like to use our Asian friend or the Buddhist mentality of I am now in an extended retreat. So self-care and education and growth and study and making myself better than the things I didn't know is part of what I'm trying to do now when I'm not on a Zoom call and talking to the rest of the world. Like Trisha is the only person I know right now, I think, who's a little bit busier than I am. So as we go through call to action sections, now my first call to action in your comments is, as you're joining us, please type in where you are watching from. And then my next call to action will involve a surprise and a unique way to use our comments. And I am going to make an invitation to you at the beginning of our date before we start serving and dive into our first skill set, if you will, category of the hats we wear is what do we do in terms of skill set? And that invitation for each and every one of you watching, I've never made before at this time of the year, just to people in a group that I don't know. You'll have to wait until the end. You're going to wait. That's a little teaser that we do. And we, all the people inside of this head, that's a teaser I'm doing for you for staying with me and staying connected as we talk about our sections, our 5 hats. I'm serving a little bit of everything. As we move through, I'm going to invite you to think about who you work with. I work with companies. And now a lot of companies are saying, what do we do, Lawrence? We're open, we're closed, but we want to keep our members or our guests or our heroes, and we want to keep our personal trainers and we want to keep our staff, but this is what we can and cannot do financially. And then I'm getting a lot of mentoring requests from individuals. And they say, Lawrence, what do you suggest? I want to grow. I want to present. I want to write. Is there any money in that? How do I start? This is the discipline I teach. But now I realize I need to be a little bit more versatile. So do you recommend breaking out? And do you recommend what I do? And there is no one answer that works for everyone. The wonderful thing about fitness is wonderful things. Our hearts are full of love and bouncy, and our tails are made out of springs. We have fun, and do whatever we want based on where we are in our demographic and our culture and what our market can hold. So I'll give you some of those secrets as we go on. One of the things that happens when I mentor with people is I'll ask you, whether you are a company for consultancy or an individual as a mentoree or a mentee, what's your message? What is your mission? And what is your vision? And before we get into our 5 hats of skill sets, I invite you to write on a piece of paper, MMV, message, mission, and vision. And I can work with you, and you can work with yourself if you have those 3. It's an umbrella that you will hold in everything you do on this planet, my friends. And if everything supports under your umbrella, your message, mission, and vision, imagine these as statements. If you have a white umbrella in big black Sharpie marker, you would write on the top outside of your umbrella, my message, my mission, and my vision. How we come up with those kind of statements, what mission statements should be, what is my vision really directing me towards, could be the subject of a whole other hour talk, and I would love to do that with you. Instead, I'll just share with you my message. The late Steve Jobs said, the most complicated thing is to be simple. And while I could read a long mission statement of a company, I'll tell you what my message is #wellness without walls. And I started publishing that, which is on the back of my shirt. Not to be rude to you, I won't flip around, but #wellness without walls in 1999. How more timely now than ever is wellness without walls? Because who's traveling and who's going out and who's going to check out the world, right? WTF, which of course stands for, wow, that's fantastic. How visionary, Lawrence, that in 1999, you had a simple hashtag, which is your message. Do I need to exercise? That word's not used. I don't use that in my message. Do I talk about sweat? Do I use the F word? Not even fitness. Do I use the A word, aerobics, right? That the 80s called and want that word back in all countries, my friends, in all countries, please. And I just use wellness without walls because more virtual, more social connection now than ever is really important. And I hope you agree with that. What is your message? When you're thinking of a message, it should be simple enough that is one of your 30 hashtags that you're allowed to use and in one of your 30 consistent of those 30 that you're allowed to use, one of your most 15 consistent hashtags is yours. If you were to produce pens, what would be on your pen, your message? Hashtag wellness without walls, or yours. If it were to be on a cap, what would be on your cap? If it were to be on the back of your shirt for you, or to give out or sell, or give to your MVPs or most valuable players, what is your message? You have a message of bar above. You have hashtags, and I believe that that's super important to support your company. All boats go up when the tide comes in, which is why we support each other. I'm seeing more of that more now than ever in a very competitive, personality-driven environment of fitness. Now, not so much. It's more like, what do you need? How can I help? I'll send people to you because I'm probably sleeping, and then you're teaching an experience when I'm over here teaching, and how can we share from each other? What is your hashtag separate from bar above? What is your hashtag separate from the gym where you made traditional work? That's already 2. What is your separate hashtag different from some I invite you to use all the time anyway to connect you and me regardless of what we're doing? And that's hashtag FitFam for fitness family, hashtag FitFam. And if you haven't done this already, please make sure you set up on your Google Alerts the keywords of the hashtags that you use. Like I have hashtag wellness without walls and 29 others show up on my Google Alerts. So I know every day, anywhere that anyone has used a hashtag, which is one of mine. You can't own a hashtag. I see when I wake up every morning and I get my Google Alert report, my hashtag to FitFam for fitness family. Whoever's made a tag of anything probably related to fitness, unless it was a typo, and we get those, anyone who's tried to make a thumbprint or a footprint or a blowing something to make a virus spread on social media of an imprint of a post, we want to make FitFam. And I'll talk a little bit more about hashtags in a little bit. For now, I invite you, if you have a hashtag that is not your company's, that is not the company where you work, like my hashtag wellness without walls, call to action number 2, my friends. Can I invite you here to write down what your hashtag is, whether you are named Grace checking in from Pennsylvania, or you are Janie checking in from Alabama, or anywhere in between those eastern states of the United States, somewhere beyond in another country. What is a hashtag that's unique to you, so we can get some ideas from each other as we're seeing our comments in our call to action? Message, mission, and vision are super important. And as we look at different sections of Cream Rises, this book that I not only wrote for my love of our career, but I'm so honored that so many universities use it now for career development, for communicators of movement. I didn't say personal trainers, and I didn't say bar instructors, communicators of movement, creators of movement experiences. You could say, see, I teach exercise. You could say, see, I'm a personal trainer, or see, exercise is fun. How are we getting everyone into our environment when we do that? The people who are already converted. But if we want to get more people involved in our community, Cream Rises is about movement. We are movement facilitators or mindful movement experts. I think that's pretty embarking our world. If you're a human, you move. If you're an elite person who has disposable income in a high-income city, you probably belong to a gym and love exercise. But for the rest of people, we're all moving, but we're not all exercising. So I invite us to open our minds to the invitation I'm going to make to you at the end of this talk that we just sharing together, just us in our meal of courting each other. I'm going to now start by inviting you to review my piece of paper landscape turned invitation, where you write down in columns some of the hats you wear across your top. Maybe you just start with mine, like skill set and business and your customer service and your self-care and all the things that you spend time doing, practicing, teaching, marketing, money, all the hats you wear. We're going to talk together from Cream Rises, a few tips of just 5. We start with number 1. One of my favorites of skill set tips is, how can you set themes? A theme is super important because it touches people in their heart, regardless. Are they doing level 1, level 2, level 3, or progression or regression, or whatever you choose to call the various levels that we offer movement choices so people can self-select. Skill set involves, my friends, setting a theme at the beginning of every session. What is a theme? A theme is a tone, a concept, a universal emotion to which all people can relate, like happiness, like breathing, like joy, like posture, like emotions, like sadness, like what we hear, like what we smell, connecting to something usually under our umbrella of fitness, but specific to life, not necessarily specific to a bar discipline or a yoga discipline or a burpee discipline, if you will. Setting a theme also is important to make people feel compelled, a wonderful C word in fitness. It's wonderful to say, I got to get my workout in. I'm not a fan of the term workout because who's outside anyway? I believe in training. I train my mind, body, spirit, or brain, body, breath for the purpose of being a COL, a champion of living. I talk about that in a chapter in terms we don't use anymore, like aerobics and cool down. And if you're still calling it cool down, I'm so sorry. It's not Lawrence, it's ACE and AFA, because I'm write exams for those communities and organizations and certifying bodies. So it's nice to put your finger on the pulse of what's current and what's not. And I'd love to tell you why a warm-up's still a warm-up and the body's still the body and the end is called the end or 5 other choices and not a cool down anymore, but we won't go there. In your skill set of setting a theme, the wonderful liberating thing is whether you're teaching the same nuts and bolts or meal or vegan or steak and potato service of the nuts and bolts of the outline of your movement, the same movement, your same movement, individually choreographed, or is it pre-choreographed given to you by someone else that you're reproducing from last year, last week, last class, next week? Who knows? A theme can always change. Imagine a pre-choreographed program that's going to stay the same from press play until the end for 3 whole months. I'm sure we all can relate to programs that have that. There are pros to that kind of a program, predictability and camaraderie, and we can work up to gauging how much we're going to learn and increase strength and fine tune, all those wonderful things. If I have a same training modality and a same outline and same movement that stays consistent for 3 months, I can still set a different theme for every single day of 3 months and have 90 new themes. Not the movement that changes, but the meaning. My friends, today in our Bar Above class, I imagine that my theme invitation for you is we're going to focus on all different positions. At various times, we're going to check into the positions of our feet, especially our big toe. What's our theme today? Our big toe. Wonderful. An hour later, or however long your experience is, you ask them, what was our theme today? And if they don't all tell you our feet, our big toe, you've done a horrible job of weaving that throughout your experience. Today, my friends, our theme is to go in and check with our breath at various times throughout our experience. Today, our theme is going to be posture, awareness without ever using a mirror. Today, our theme is not what we're doing at the bar, but what the bar is doing in relationship to us. Today, our theme is going to be how the music makes us feel at various times of our experience. Today, our theme is what gives us the most joy throughout our experience, and then have a little share at the end. Challenging, sure. Inviting, sure, but the most joy during our experience today. Today, our theme is going to be take a few of our moves and explain how they make us COLs or champions of life, so that it's not a movement for a museum, but it is an experience to empower. And that's the rest of our life. And that's pretty cool. As a skill set, my friends, set a theme. Even those of you Zooming now, Facebooking now, Insta Live now, all the stuff you're doing on the gram, set a theme when you put your marker. Tomorrow's morning, I'm going live. We're going to get your balls and your bands and your discs and your glow sticks and How about also set a theme? It's beach party. And then show up if you have the ability to see your friends in a beach party theme, if they choose to share, if you're using a modality that allows people to share. And if you don't want to make it show and tell or get people involved, I've gotten some really good quarantine costumes lately, let me tell you. Some I could post publicly and some I couldn't. Then you make your theme about words. And your words in your themes can be things like all the examples I gave you. A whole chapter of Cream Rises includes adding to our skill set, setting a theme, but weaving a theme throughout our experience. Themes come from literature. If you've ever taken English lit in any part of your growing up, or in other countries, all our friends in Asia, all our friends in Europe, and you've taken literature study, the question we always look at, from Don Quixote through ancient texts to the Hardy Boys, is what is the main theme here? Is it love? Is it joy? Is it stealing? Is it animosity? Is it cheating? All those things that can happen make differences and relate us to our commonality, which is humanity, not our differences, but our similarities. Remember that in your skill set. And our second tip, our big second skill set, I'm going to invite you to think about is to not only record yourself, because you're doing that already, and watch yourself 3 times. The first time, just 5 minutes, not a whole sit through your 1 hour experience of 1 hour, then 1 hour, then 1 hour. The same 5-minute section, maybe the middle, and just cover your eyes and listen to everything and ask, how would I feel here wanting everything in level 1? How could I follow? And how would I feel here wanting everything in level 3? How could I follow? And then watch with the volume muted. And note what you would see and feel and hear based on your observations as a level 1 practitioner and a level 3 practitioner. Notice, I never use the words beginner, intermediate, and advanced because those are labels for people. And in fitness, we don't label people. We label difficulty of movements. So level 1, level 2, or 3, or people in a regression or a progression, not beginner, intermediate, and advanced. If I go skydiving, I'm probably going to be a beginner and it's going to be happening once. And so immediately I've gone from beginner to an advanced because I'm not doing that again. Therefore, in skill set, to summarize, what 2 tips did I give you? Maybe call to action here you want to type out for skill set. Number 1 is always compel people to stay connected, whether we're doing the same thing or new thing, by always setting a new theme. I hope you wrote. And number 2, make sure we continue to watch ourselves. How many times? 3. The first time with our eyes. The second time with our ears. The third time for a look, listen, and feel with our heart. How am I creating a compelling experience beyond movement to meaning from skill set? Number 2, I'm going to talk about a few business tips because in Cream Rises, I try to fulfill a need that we don't always get in yoga and PT and group fitness in our world. We don't get told. The wonderful big players don't always tell us how to grow our business. They make sure we take the Hippocratic oath like doctors. Above all, do no harm. The most important word is safety. I say the most important word is success. And your number 1 business tip, my friend, is before you can hold an umbrella and make money under your umbrella, you have to have an MMV. And the most important MMV we're talking about today is message. What is your message? Which is pretty synonymous with your hashtag. You can also have a mission. You need to on the top of your umbrella. And you also need to have a vision where you're going to tomorrow. Today, who knows about tomorrow? I'm just trying to do the next right thing, to quote Frozen 2, which is not really Frozen 2. It comes from something else. That said, I want to make sure we all are on the same page in terms of our message, mission, and vision. What's your message? You have to have a message if you're going to have a business, because you're going to make decisions. Do I want to take this course? Should I renew my CECs? Do I want to spend time on this webinar? Should I practice teaching this? Should I move into that? Does this support your message? Another business tip. How are we making money now in fitness? Well, if it's legal and ethical, I think any way we can. I invite you to check out the PSA that some really wonderful thought leaders and humanitarians and big names, I think, in the fitness industry put together for each and every one of you. And that's called the PSA, or the public service announcement called #FitnessWorks. And can you please write this in our comments? #FitnessWorks, because fitness works all around the world and not for free. We don't go to a doctor. We don't go to a chiropractor. We don't go to a therapist. We don't go to a dentist. And then after services, get told, okay, go over there and make a donation. Go to the desk and you can make your donation there. We pay for professional services. And without answers, but the right questions that practitioners of movement now, those taking advantage of our services, and professionals need to be able to offer, is just asking the right questions and telling people what's going on. My club is supplementing me. It's not supplementing me. I'm taking advantage of your class. Are you okay? Can I make a contribution in some way? That's super important. Therefore, we want to make sure we stay connected to our PSA. Where is this PSA, Lawrence? Well, you see on my shirt, findlawrence.com, on my YouTube channel. This is every playlist. And the PSA is something I will also put for you in the comments when we're finished, as a courtesy when we're done, because I don't believe in typing and looking and free here. You are writing down at the beginning, for those of you just joining, where you're watching from. Number 2, if you have a message, what is your personal hashtag, for example? Remember, as we're putting things online and we're putting services out there, we are asking for contributions to our professional services like any other professional company would. We're not asking for donations. I do a lot of charity work and social good, and I work for a 501c3. The Salvation Army, the Red Cross, they need donations. They are a charity. I'm not sure you're a charity. Sometimes we're feeling like a charity, but if we start asking for donations, we're coming from a lack mentality and what we don't have. But if we talk about contribution and professional services, subliminally and professionally, we claim our space, because it's not milk or soy, it's cream that rises. And if people are connected to us, then we're all connected in some way on a professional level for that which we offer. So in addition to having a message, in addition to watching our worldwide public service announcement, I invite you then, takeaway number 3 for business, to keep tagging or hashtagging fitness works. When you do anything, before you go live, after you go live, as you're answering each and every comment, after your classes, after your sessions, hashtag fitness works. And then in your Google alerts, in addition to hashtag your message hashtag and hashtag FitFam, your third is hashtag fitness works. When I wake up, my Insta and my Facebook bring into me, as well as my Google alerts, keywords, everyone around the world that's been using fitness works. And I see, so different from a month ago, where people were saying, how am I going to pay my groceries? My club is closed. And now, from boomer to zoomer in 5 hours, you're looking at him. Guess what? Now I'm getting emails from people saying, Lawrence, I'm not sure I want to go back and teach at the club to pay me $30 a class with no incentives for more heads after fire code capacity or less than fire code capacity. I just made $500 in contributions for the class I took. People were joining that I didn't know. People were joining from other countries. People were joining from not club affiliation. People were joining from other languages and cultures and continents and time zones. Why do I want to go back and teach for my $30? I think there's benefit in being part of a traditional facility as we knew it, which is going to be changed. And I think there's something to say for growth and business and hashtagging fitness works, because when we're connected to the past, we stay in the past. We can't reach for tomorrow's hope if our hands are filled already with yesterday's junk. Therefore, we have to stay afloat in our business sense, and I call that a survival kit. Lawrence, do you have a survival kit for us? Because lots of people are putting out links and tips and tricks and secrets and their take on. I do. I have a survival kit for you. And now that we're going through our meal together with our bento box, I told you that I have an invitation for you that's very special that you have to wait for to the end. It's going to include a very special survival kit that I've prepared. Lawrence, you might be sneaky. You're building up to try to sell me something. I would love to sell you on who I am. If that's great for you, great. But I'm not trying to say at the end, I want $5 or $20. I'm not going to sell you a thing when we're done today. I promise you that. That would be really unethical and I wouldn't respect myself. So if you're thinking I'm trying to sell you anything during our meal courting bento box chat together, I am, because I think we all want to be liked. I think we'd love to be loved. And I know that as an Italian, the more you give food of different things, the more you have a chance that people will love you. If they don't want the pasta, they might want the risotto. If they don't want the risotto, they won't want the eggplant. If they don't want the eggplant, they might fall in love with you through the sangria. So I'm serving you a couple things here. And I promise you that of these teasers, I'm not selling anything for you at the end. That's our business. To sum that up, what are some of our tips that I've made for you? Can you write down in your call to action now in comments one takeaway that I've given you or inspired you just to think about from Cream Rises in a business sense? Your umbrella, maybe. MMV, message, mission, and vision, or just what's my message? And put it up so it's one of the first things you see next to your victory wall and next to your vision board. Victory board is about the past. That's what you did yesterday. Sure, bring those goals into today because they fuel me. And I have one. Vision board, where you think you're going tomorrow, that makes God laugh when you post it up there. Yay, great. But victory's past and vision's tomorrow. Your message is where you are right now. And if I didn't get up and see my message, there are some times that I don't want to listen to NPR before I see my message. I have to remember who I am. Child of God and a child of love, to spread that before I listen to the news and then say, oh, my dear, it's going to be a day when I'm going to be putting out fires. And there are those days, but I stay connected to my message. Another business sense thing is to remember you're going to use the word contribution and not donations. Maybe you're just going to open up questions and answers. Are you contributing to the services you're taking? Are you needing contributions? Or make it open if you are not needing contributions because your club is taking care of you. Just keeping the business sense communicative and transparent so people trust you. And then I've mentioned that you're going to watch a PSA and hashtag fitness works, where fitness works around the world. I'm going to give you some ideas from all working countries and continents, from Greece throughout all of Europe, England, including its Brexit, up to Russia, from New York all the way to LA, up to our friends in Canada, down through South America, over to Hawaii, and then all Asian countries that I know and have worked. I'm going to give you, yes, I'm going to give you 15 hours of the key fitness professional humanitarian celebrities in each of those countries right now in our global pandemic, telling you what they think you could be doing for bar and Zumba and Pilates and personal training and managing these corporations, getting into your clubs, staying away from your clubs, doing Zoom, doing social media, or Instagram for revenue. All the ideas. Not only have we come out with a PSA over the last couple of weeks for pandemic, but I've been doing virtual around the world global check-in town hall meetings. I've invited humanitarians who know so much more than I do, fitness people to whom I've looked over the years, and I've said, can we sit and talk? And for the last month, every other Sunday, we sit and watch each other and talk about what's working in your country, what's not, what's the most inspirational story that you could give everybody watching. And people are telling me and texting, and you can read the comments. Where do we get that, Lawrence? I'll put that in the notes as well. It's all on my Facebook page. It's all on my website, findlawrence.com, and it's all connected when we stay connected. But you get ideas, what could work for you that you hadn't thought about, and what you have been doing that you're validated also is working in Australia. That's just announced no club can open until September of 2020. Granted, news does change. Remember that. Let's summarize business. Moving on to another hat, we have customer service skills. Customer service is very important to me, and I allude to it a lot in Cream Rises because I wrote a whole other book called Customer Service for Fitness Professionals, and that's called Running the Show. Because if you think we're not running a show all the time, we are. Hence my huge love for, respect for, understanding of drag queens. We all work in a club. We're all out of work now. We spend a lot of time in preparation before we're actually on stage, and we have to give excellence in customer service. No, I'm not a drag queen. I just respect them, especially now when they can't work in their clubs because their clubs are closed. They're not doing makeup and choreography and movement and muscles. Kind of sound familiar, right? Yeah, my huge heart. And our last global check around, we stopped with Alyssa in full drag, who sang for us in the UK. Every star, every humanitarian, every fitness celebrity gives us 15 minutes of personal and heart and wisdom, insights and inspiration. We're not selling cash, we're selling connection through community and continents and working countries. In customer service, my big takeaway now is as we create a positive environment for our world, challenge for your personal life that will grow into your business life is when anyone expresses gratitude, thanks, what's your answer? I won't ask you to call to action there, but I will ask you to think about this. When somebody expresses gratitude, thanks for everything, wonderful class, wonderful experience, I tipped you, I'm going to send you something. After a thanks, my friends, we hear a lot in English-speaking culture. No problem. We hear, it's okay. We hear, you're welcome. You know what we want to say? My pleasure. Or even better, this is my pleasure, or my favorite. This is my pleasure to be of service. When we can use the words service and pleasure in our answer, how wonderful is that? When somebody says to me, when I express gratitude, thanks, no problem, could it possibly conceive in the realm of love and wellness and strength that there is a problem for you doing a job that I hope someone is paying you for? Nah, it's not thanks for everything, no problem. You are welcome. You are not welcome. You're my hope to be courted friend as I'm serving you some meals or some tastes of meals while we're having our first date together here at this table. And I know some of you are watching who do know me and know that one of my hashtags is bucket of crazy. Thank you for enduring the Lawrence. But you can endure you when you get into the habit, when people express gratitude, and they do, of using the word service and using the word pleasure. If we want to up our skills on customer service, and you realize that they are your customers or potential customers, or to quote the late Steve Jobs, who said the most complicated thing is to be simple, also said, people don't know what they need to do until you invite them to do. And that's tip me, or make a contribution to my professional services, or ask me how I can open up communication for you taking my experience today. Just those kind of things. If we're going to create excellence in customer service, let's use the word service, right? It's my pleasure to be of service. And my second tip for customer service skills that we never get in our environment of positivity, of love, of creating authentic bar and burpee and ballet experiences and everything in between is to create a positive world environment. And for your personal life and for your work life, from personal to professional, my friends, let's try to omit, make disappear, and forever forget the N-word, no, because no really is the beginning of a phrase called not yet. And the word don't, which is an apostrophe word of to, do not. Why no, Lawrence? Let's cue to positives, right? Is today Friday? Today is Tuesday. I didn't have to negate. I can start with a positive. Can I go into the cycle class and every cycle is already used and I'm late? Our cycle class has someone on every bike. Is your name George? My name is Lawrence. If we always start with a positive, our world then is part of a solution because we're part of our world, using positive words. And just like NLP or neuro-linguistic programming and positive psychology all believe in omitting the word don't, because then we cue to solutions. Don't let your wrist bend back. Don't let your shoulders slouch forward. Don't let your abdominals pooch out, and don't let your knees go past your toes. Don't forget my milk at the store, honey. You're only concentrating on negatives. Don't think about an elephant in a pink bikini on a bosu. Only works if you understand in English. Elephant, bosu, pink, bikini. And then I don't want to spend time there. What? If we get into the habit by using the word keep, K-E-E-P in English, and almost all Romance and Asian language have ways to rephrase. How wonderful then this becomes: keep your wrists neutral and elongated with less wrinkles. Keep your shoulders back and down. Keep your navel squeezing in. I'd stand up if I were wearing pants and show you. And keep your knees behind your toes all of a sudden. And keep my milk on your mind when you're coming home from the store, honey, as we're allowed to go out to the store, honey. Then we're only queuing to solution and not spending any time in our negative world of no and don't. Tell me what to do, and we queue to solutions and not to negatives. So to summarize our customer service tips from Cream Rises, my friends, number one takeaway, do you remember? Let's remember that if someone expresses gratitude, our answer is, it's a pleasure to be of service. And number two, let's get into the habit of omitting the words no and don't. Not even don't litter. Don't tell me what to do. Don't stand so close to me. All can become positive. Keep your thoughts to yourself. Keep your distance. Namaste, 6 feet away. Tell them what you want. And let's not spend time in our negative. To finish or summarize our customer service section, I'd like to say, it's my pleasure to be of service during our bento box for our third tip or hat on customer service. Let's move on now to my fourth hat, which is self-care. And the more fun we put in our self-care now is the more we're going to be able to take care of others. Back to our Chinese proverb. We can't serve tea to others if our teapot is empty. And what's filling up your tea? If it's spirituality, keep that and maybe take a little more. If it's vitamins, keep that and maybe think about a little bit more. Whatever you're finding joy in, I'm going to ask you to two tips for your self-care. Number one, make a list of what brings you now in your retreat, in your hashtag retreat, what brings you joy and how much percentage of your day you're putting time into that. If we talk again, we'll work with that. But for now, just being aware. Feldenkrais said awareness, no judgments. What is the things you do that bring you joy in your day? Your first glass of wine, for example, at 5 o'clock. And how long does that last? Just reaching for straws here. I'm just picking something that's very far-fetched for me. Notice I said first glass of wine, because that presupposes the gin and tonic and then the Prosecco come later. Number two, in addition to writing down what brings you joy and how much time you spend doing that, then you write down your waking hours, right? And you look at a percentage or ask Alexa, Siri, or Google to calculate that for you. The percentage of time you're in your joy. And number two, check out on my YouTube channel, the playlist, Minute Meditation. It's called Minute Meditation because I kind of do this like Minute Meditation for dummies, but I think that I'm a dummy and I don't have time to do the Eat, Pray, Love, 2-hour swallow gauze mantra, pull up. I've got biscuit, I've got stuff to do, I'm busy. I get my mind right in the morning. I look at my message. I have my morning meditations, and these are really, really short. So if you're not familiar with meditation, I believe in the RPM mentality in the morning. For some of you cycle people, and I am a cycle person, there's nothing more fun than going nowhere in a dark room for an hour. I want to say that I believe in RPM. I wake up and I believe in RPM every morning. Rise, P, meditate. And that M is so important. Come to findlawrence.com and you'll get some tips on written meditation. But even better, go to YouTube, click on the playlist Minute Meditation, and in 60 seconds, you'll find you will be highly motivated and really meditated and no drugs involved. Just try that for your self-care as one of our hats. And number 5, after we summarize self-care, can I invite you to write a call to action, which is write down what you're doing now for self-care or one thing that brings you joy. If it's a glass of wine for me, I think that's self-care because when I'm doing webinars, I'm not drinking the juice. I'm not eating the grapes or drinking the fermented grapes of juice or juice of grapes. I'm giving you the best of me. If you really want the best of me, we do a happy hour Zoom together. I do them. It's called #wine with me, where we just WINE about all the things that are going on. Wine together. You can let me know if you want to be invited to one of my wines with me. It's a much better Lawrence than this. However, in your service skills of self-care, how do you take care of yourself? I invite you to make that call to action here. My YouTube playlist is called Minute Meditation. You can even pull it in on #Minute Meditations if you know how to do #Minute Meditation on the gram. You can search for hashtag. You go to search, you put a #FitFam, for example, and you draw in all the people who are following #FitFam. If you have a hashtag, you got to search for yourself and make that a daily thing that you're following, your hashtag, even if other people use it. Like an underwear company in India is Find Lawrence. It's a truth, not a judgment. To quote Feldenkrais, awareness, not always a judgment. I'll tell you what I think, but that's in the wine with me. Fifth hat we all wear with secrets just for you from Cream Rises. And that is all about growth. How are we going to grow during this time? If you think, well, I don't feel in the mindset now, you think you're going to feel it later? I'm not really thinking now's the time to up my game and become more versatile, a better bar above instructor, or a dimensionalized instructor to mentor others or to write or to monetize YouTube. I've always wanted to go in and create a playlist and the welcome video that YouTube allows you to do for free that people new to your site will always see with 2 clicks. Now's the time to investigate that shipwreck of stuff that's out there, because if not now, to quote Hillel, when? Now's the time when you take 20 minutes a day for your growth. And if you're inspired and allowed by the universe plan, you'll extend those 20 minutes. And in 20 minutes, just watch something every day. Watch a TED Talk. Watch what IDEA puts out for all its instructors around the world. Watch what SCW Fit has on demand. Watch what your club, what your organization, what Trisha makes available for you. TED Talks are wonderful places to go to learn how to be better people and humans instead of just fitness pro or fitness professional, because when we connect on various levels, we're then connecting on emotion, and people will draw in and buy your Kool-Aid when they're connected to what you're selling, which is who you are. Not definitely if you're going to do a burpee or a plie or a bar move, because we're not reinventing how our body moves. We have 10 positions. In bar, we use some of them, and we go through those. It's our personality and delivery that makes all the difference. So in our growth, and we reflect growth back to skill set, how? Skill set is what we're doing in front of our people. Growth is the stuff we do, the backstory, the change that has to happen to transform, because it's the only thing that's predictable in our life is God's love and change. Nothing else, I believe, is going to stay exactly the same. And therefore, let's use our time to grow. So when we go back into time to look at each other or touch each other or get more people physically into our space, whether we're compensated for that or not, I think it's nice to say, you know what? We're not taking this moment for granted. And I'm also a transformed person from who I was before. And to do that, I believe we remember the 2 reasons why anyone comes that I've been alluding to. At the bar, we have our moves, and at the bar, we have our magic, and that's our delivery. And people don't know this word because they probably haven't read my book, but we have to be, my friends, edutainers. An edutainer is someone who educates and is someone who entertains. And a whole chapter of Cream Rises is a survey. Answer these things, these 20 to 25 points, and it will tell you where you are on the proficiency scale that I wrote on entertaining in front of people, the magic, if you will, that we create, regardless of pre-choreographed or not. What really makes some people sell their personality and not. The next section is tally up these 20 to 25 tally points, same number of possibilities that I wrote, that are all about education during our instruction, during our teaching, during our performing. And then you tally up your education, you tally up your entertaining, and then you see where your strengths are in really being an edutainer. We have to be just as strong in our magic as just as strong in our movement if we want more people to come and keep our current people compelled to return. This is super, super important. Because when we keep people close to us, they stay and they bring their friends. Words of mouth is huge. So number 2, for growth, ask yourself, am I an edutainer? Do I educate and do I entertain with equal, untouchable strengths? And that's a chapter from Cream Rises where it's interactive workbook like the whole book itself, except for the references at the end. Really has a lot of sections. Say, try this. And if you don't take pen and paper to your book or print out sections or use your PDF or use your Kindle and make some markings, you're not taking full advantage of the fact that I really envisioned Cream Rises to be about you and not me and be interactive. Just like all of this are talked together. Not to be about this is the book and this is what I wrote, but how can this influence you? How can this make more people come to you? So your experience, pre-choreographed, individually choreographed, or freestyle, is compelling for people to stay, people to anticipate more, and people to want to come back. For our tips of growth, I invited you to watch 20 minutes a day, TED Talks, professional services that are out there, whether you pay or not, and think about how you're growing that people don't see, that indirectly affects your service skills in front of them with your skill set. And number 2, think of a survey. Am I an entertainer? Am I an educator? And where do I need to up my skills in growth so that when I go back, I'm equally untouchable in both? But Lawrence, how do I get that specific survey of education tally points, entertaining tally points? I'm going to tell you in just a few more seconds. Wow. I started this whole courting of our meal together before our 5 skill sets and business and self-care and sort of the marketing and all we do with customer service. And finally, what we do with ourselves, which is called growth, with a few tips from my book of some of the many hats I wear in this bucket of crazy, hoping that I've given you some specific takeaways. Although we're just meeting for the first time, whether you want to have a date with me again or not, I can't predict. But I can say that I'm from my Greek and from my Italian and from my American and every other culture represented here, friends know that it's one thing to say I love you, it's another thing to show that I love you. So I don't just want to talk about Cream Rises, I want to give you Cream Rises. So boom, you have it. You have your download copy of Cream Rises. Message me and I give it to you. I won't say, if you buy this and there's an upsell of this and secretly subscribe here, send me an email. It's so easy to find me, Lawrence@findlawrence.com. You don't have to worry about how to spell my crazy last name. You've seen in the comments already, my site. Click there and you can speak and Vox and WhatsApp and email and snail mail your contact info, just your email, and I will get you your copy of Cream Rises, where you can go to page 119 and you can start your chapter of tallying. Am I an entertainer? Am I an educator? And how could I be more of an entertainer? Number 2, I'm going to invite you to watch the PSA that unites all of us for #FitnessWorks, not selling ideas that you have to accept, but inviting you to open up a conversation about creative ways that fitness professionals around the world are not going broke and not asking for donations, but taking contributions when needed, when legal, when ethical for professional services, and then inviting you to our around the world town halls where if you have patience, and I think you got some patience for Netflix these days, so what is 15 hours, right? 3 around the world town halls, each one 5 hours. Stop and start, scrub. You can fast forward to the people that interest you, but listen to everybody. Because if I've invited people, I'm not sitting for 15 minutes to talk about your weather. The third question is the most important. I ask every single guest. Trisha was just our guest on this most recent Sunday. What are your tips of inspiration for all fitness professionals, regardless of discipline? What inspires you the most now that's making money? that's what you want to watch. It's worth the 20 hours. You want to do these long series of Netflix? I saw a post today. I finished Netflix. Well, good for you. Come around the world. I'm going to post those links here. Super simple. The most complicated thing is to be simple. You get your copy of Cream Rises. All you do, Lawrence@findlawrence.com, Cream Rises in the subject. You can have a blank email. You'll get Cream Rises from me. I want to keep it easy for you. You could do it right now as a call to action. If you have another device, I'd love you to stay here for our remaining 2 minutes. Number 2, I'm going to put links to our around the world global virtual town halls for our hashtag United Nations of Fitness for you to get ideas if you are interested. And number 3, if you have a business mentality or are growing your business mentality of what you're going to do for your message, mission, and vision under your umbrella, you have to have a mentor. You have mentors with each other in this group, bar above. Do you also have a fitness mentor? For the month of May, which starts in just a few days on Friday, I'm offering free, again, to finish this date, I gave you a gift, which is a book. I've given you 15 hours of other people's wisdom to watch. And number 3, I'm inviting you into my private secret Facebook group, just like this group, called HAW or the 100 Acre Woods. But you don't have to find that. Just accept a link that I will put. And if you want to be in my secret, private, master mindful mentoring for May, say that fast, pro bono, which is the F word, right? Nobody respects the F word, free. I'm not going to upsell. I'm not going to say, well, we're also doing this because I've got a lot of levels of mentoring. I have 3. But for May, because it's worked so well in April, I'm going to have 4. And the entry level of mentoring, for those who just want to know how Lawrence thinks, crazy, done. We think about and we post and we share and exchange ways to be business savvy and humanitarian savvy with ideas for doing and thinking and saying every day. That comes in May. To sign up now, I'll put the deets right here as we conclude in our chat. I, with love in my heart, have hoped you've enjoyed our meal together. I've been courting you, hoping that there's been something that you've enjoyed tasting along our way, either skill set or business or self-care or customer service or growth skills, 5 of the hats that I've drawn from here. 1 hour ago, I said, namaste. Are you a teacher? Are you a leader? Are you a performer? There's a place for everyone. Cream Rises is about being a teacher. And the definition of teaching is to make people not need you in some way, to make them independent in their behavior or thought in some way. If you're performing, good for you. If you are leading, good for you. But if you're a teacher, you are changing them. God bless, with love in my heart and a firm commitment to spread wellness without walls. I'd like to express my gratitude to you for allowing me to be of service. That was my intention during our hour together. Now, let me get into what you're saying. Jennifer, edutainers, hashtag, yes, thank you. Edutrainers as well, sure. Since quarantined, I do a learning opportunity every day at 1 on my schedule, EST or PST, whatever, for these bar group events. It's been a lifesaver. Thank you for connecting. I'm invited. I'm honored. I've been watching the last couple of bar events because I think it's interesting if you're invited to do something to know what you're a part of. And June Khan is here. Yay, June. Hi. June and I wrote a book together called Morning Cardio Workouts, published by Human Kinetics. We are still making so much money from the residuals of that book. But it is available in Mandarin. I will say that. That's on my resume. And that I wrote a book for Human Kinetics, thanks to June Khan for asking me to co-write that book with her. Dawn is saying she's here. We have Tonya here. Jennifer, thank you. A delightful meal. Oh, because I was courting you for a meal. The truth is we know each other. Patty Adams, I didn't even know I was hungry, but I loved it all. Thank you. Was there any tidbit that you liked? Tricia, if you need to go, I'll just cut myself off. I just do a little interaction at the end because I don't like doing this during. I just don't. I'm not good that way. I have one-track mind. You're so generous and kind. Thank you. I'm going to put in the links after I end the live video, the link, what I've promised you, because I have notes. Trust me. I'm not just making blind promises. You are such a gift. The fact that you're giving this resources beyond the resource is the secret group that Trisha Murphy has, right? Bar above secret group. Not everybody wants in. Free copy. What? You're all going to get a book of this. Yay! And it's a workbook. So you got to take it seriously. Print out the chapters on edutainment. It's very important. Tech stuff is Chinese. I'll tell you, Trisha, you just have to read my comments after I conclude this live chat. I'm going to go back in like a stalker, and unless you push me out of the group because you're unhappy with my performance, my talk, my love. Thank you for Trisha for putting the note. Trisha, who said, I won't be there. She's either here or writing every other comment, or she hired someone else to use her account. Thank you very much. You're number one priority. You're all my number one priority. You can't make others happy. You can't serve anything to others if your teapot is empty. Minute meditation on my YouTube channel. What's your YouTube channel? Find Lawrence. What's your gram? Find Lawrence. What's your Skype? Find Lawrence. What's your Zoom? Find Lawrence. What's your Facebook? Find Lawrence. What's your second Facebook? Find Lawrence. What's your third Facebook? Find Lawrence too. Yeah. Thank you very much. I don't see any questions. Peace out. Enjoy your meal, whatever that is. I'm gonna have some wine. I am. Where I am in the world, it is 5 o'clock. I have a business call, but I've already said I can schedule you in if I can have a glass of wine. However I can be of service to you, let's stay connected. I'm finishing now, and I'm going to put my links that I promised you right here, right now. In 3 minutes, watch my feed. This will close up, and I will be on with you. 3 minutes, love in my heart.